Okay, hi everybody. So welcome to this third video on how to understand ABC notation. The first one was just getting started. Then we just had the basics in the previous one. And today I'm going to go through the next step, so extra things you can do with ABC. My name is Chris Walshaw, and I run abcnotation.com. Okay, so what are we going to cover today? We're going to look at chord symbols. We're going to look at chords and unisons. So chord symbols being the letters that get written for the accompaniment, chords when we have more than one note being played at the same time. We'll look at ties and slurs. We'll look at grace notes, headers and comments, so extra things you can put in information about the tune and so on, and a little bit about going further. Okay, so let's start with chord symbols. Now I thought today, yesterday was when I was doing the previous video, I was just typing stuff in. I thought today I would do that, but also demonstrate by showing you examples that I found on the ABC website. So let's have a look at the ABC code. And I thought we might as well start with a tune that I guess everyone knows. It's a sort of prototypical tune, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, also known as the alphabet song, very closely related to Baa Baa Black Sheep. And I believe it may be a French melody called A vous dirai-je un moment. Not sure about that. From an air de opera Françoise. Okay, so I'm told. So there's the tune. Hopefully that'll be familiar. And what we're going to do is I'll do some demonstrations on this version, but then when we get to each one, I'll show you some more advanced examples by looking at something that I found on the ABC website. Okay, so let's start off with chord symbols. So these are accompaniment chord symbols, and you just put in inverted commas. So if I want to put a D chord on the first bar, I put just a D in inverted commas, and you'll see the D appears there. Let's make that a bit bigger. There we go. And what you'll see is I can also modify that chord in lots of different ways. So I can have major. I could have a major seventh if I want. Major, I don't need to add anything, but I can have a major seventh, M7. I can have a minor seventh if I wanted, M7, and so on. And there's a whole list here that Easy ABC is helping me with. Okay, minor 7 wouldn't really fit on this tune, I don't think. So that's a chord symbol. And I said I'd show you some examples. And if we go to the alphabet song, this is a version of the tune that I found on the ABC website earlier. And you can see it's got chords all the way through D, G. These are pretty straightforward chords. I'm going to do another video that will talk about placement of chords and how you might move them, especially if you want them to appear in the middle of a note. I'll talk about that in a completely different video. But as you can see, they're quite straightforward to put in, and they're just letters. You may also notice that the stuff going on down the bottom here, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, these are the words. I'm not going to talk about that in this video either, but they're easy to put in. So with this W field that goes underneath, and that lines the letters up with the word. So you can see if we go down to the end here, you can see W gets lined up with those three notes. Talk about that more in another video. Okay, that's all I want to say about chords. Let's go back to our demo tune. So next are that's chord symbols. Next are chords. So when we want to play two notes at the same time, and that's done using square brackets. So suppose on this note here, I want to put in a chord. I can put square brackets, messes everything up while I'm doing it. B2, A2. So this is square brackets in, and now it looks right again. In another video, I'll talk about the Easy ABC and the typing assistance it gives you, so it doesn't mess everything up while you're in the middle of things. But in the moment, I think it's sensible to keep that off. So D2, I can put in 2 notes there. I can put in 3 notes. I can put in 4 notes. I can put in lots of notes. It's probably a bit extreme, but there you go. And if you want to put in a unison, you just put in the same note twice. So if we wanted to have, this is obviously for instruments that can play unisons. Let's do that. But you can't hear it when we play the music. Okay. That's all I needed to say about chords and unisons. Let's get rid of that. But I wanted to show you another example of that in another tune I found. Excuse me. And this is, I was looking for Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and this one came up. And of course, if you look at it, it's very, very different from all the Twinkle Twinkle Little Stars that you might know. And this turns out is a tune. So I'll talk about the headers at the end, but this tune was recorded in 1928. Okay, and it's a completely different tune. And if you want to find out a bit about the background, this is the page that I got it from. There you can see the tune. There's the notes, and you can look it up. Look at the notes here. But actually, if you found stuff on the ABC website and you want to know a bit more about it, there's certain sites which will tell you quite a lot. In particular, one I wanted to highlight, the Traditional Tune Archive. And if I click on this link about where it comes from, that takes me to the Traditional Tune Archive. There's the tune. And if I then click on the name of the tune, you'll see there's a whole section of text all about the tune and where it comes from and when it was recorded and who recorded it. So I just wanted to mention that in passing, really. Okay, but this tune, let's go back to the ABC. This tune uses chords. You can see one there, one there. You can see chords in beams. There's a chord there. You can also see a tie there. We'll talk about that next. There's another chord, and even up to quite fancy chords down here where there's accidentals happening in the middle of a chord. So here we've got a chord E and a B tied onto this note. So there's E and B together, tied to this E and B, and then in this chord we've got what's that? A D sharp and a B flat together, and they're beamed together because they're next to each other. So this pair of notes is next to this pair of notes, and if I put a space between them, it'll separate them out. Okay. So it follows all the rules of ABC. It's just that when we put things in square brackets, that gives us chords or unisons. Okay, I think that was all I was going to say about that. Let's move on then to what was the next topic? Ties and slurs. Oh yes. Okay, so we've seen some ties and slurs already, but they're easy to put in. So they're either done with a dash if you want to tie. So if you want to tie these notes together, okay, and the music, the player, which is ABC MIDI, will respect that. Okay, and slurs you can put in with brackets. So round brackets starts a slur, and you can put it at the end. I don't think that affects how the music is played through the MIDI player. It's just I don't think it does legato and staccato as such. Okay, so we can put those in. Having said that, I've just thought of something. You can put in dotted notes, so very staccato notes. So let's put them at the beginning, so we don't have to listen to the whole tune. So you can hear there that you get no sustain on the note. It's just clipped short. Okay, that's ties and slurs. And as I said, as we saw in this example, there's quite a few ties in this tune. I'm not sure there's any slurs, but you can see ties going on quite a lot. So ties from a note into a beam, ties from a chord there. So this chord is tied to that chord, so G4, B4, with this dash to tie it to the GB. Okay, that was ties and slurs, quite easy to put in. Let's have a look at grace notes. Okay, so grace notes, we'll go back to my demo tune. Grace notes are put in with a pair of curly brackets. Okay, so suppose I want to put in a grace note here. Put in some curly brackets, and I can put in a B as a grace note, and it usually puts in a little slur between the grace note and the note. So if you listen to that, there you can hear it. And we can also, there's also things like typically you find rolls and rolls in Irish music. You can put them in with a little tilde, and that will give a sort of roll around the note. Okay. And just to give you an example of that, here is the French version of this tune, possibly the original, because it sounds like it comes from an opera. I think it was 18th century opera. I'm not sure about that. So this one has a grace note there, and also it's got a trill here. We'll see that in a minute when I get to the end of the examples. Now, these grace notes can become very involved, in fact. So if you want to do something, and the most involved system of grace notes that I know about is the Highland bagpipes. And so I've also got one tune that isn't Twinkle Twinkle Little Star at the end here, so the Atholl Highlanders. And that gives you examples of really involved grace notes. So these very specific Highland gracings. Okay, we can listen to that. It's quite an unusual. Okay, so you get the idea. You can put in many more notes than just one, and I have seen up to 5 or 6 notes in a single grace indicator. Okay, let's move on then. So headers and comments was the next thing I was going to do. So all these examples actually have lots of headers in them. Okay, so this one, and headers, when I say headers, that means information in the heading. So information in the top part of the tune. Here you can see I've got multiple T fields to tell the software that this is a tune with lots of names. So tell the software. This makes it much easier to search for it. Obviously, if you want to find the alphabet song, but you've only named it Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, it's going to be a little bit harder. So having all the possible titles of the tune in there is quite useful. What other fields are there? We talked about the composer last time, and that does get abused for things like putting in traditional kids song. I guess that's fair enough. It's traditional. Comments can be put in with a % sign. So what I've done here, when I found this tune, I don't want to change the tune particularly. I want to keep it as it is, but I also want to make a note of where I've got it from. So rather than adding a field to indicate this, I've put a comment with a % sign. Anything with a % sign is ignored. Anything with a % sign is ignored up to the end of the line. So if you put a % sign at the beginning of the line, the whole line is ignored. If I put it here, this is the title. Again, it's ignored. So it's referred to as a comment. So it's just a comment on the ABC code. It's not interpreted in any way. And I've used that down here to indicate which page I got it from on the ABC website. Okay. Other fields, I mentioned the lyrics come in with this W field. I will talk about them in another video because I think that can get a bit involved. This tune is quite interesting, this Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Let's expand that whole window. So you can see it's got 2 names. S is the source, so where it came from, which turns out was Smith's Garage Fiddle Band. There's the meter, it's cut in cut time. The unit note length is 1/8 notes. It's a Scottish, that's the type of tune it is. And there's a Q is used for typically for indicating the tempo. And you can actually specify the number of beats per minute, but here it's just got the word quick. D is used for discography. So this was recorded on a 78 in 1928, amazingly. And here you can see F, the person who's transcribed this has also put in a link to the page where the recording is. Okay, and you can see it was transcribed by Andrew Kuntz. So there's even more of these fields. I don't want to go into all the details, but that can be used for particularly for indexing stuff and for using for search. So you want to put all the Smith's Garage Fiddle Band tunes together. You can do that. And as I say, I've put my own comment in there, which is the page on the ABC website that I got it from. Okay, and then the last one I wanted to show you was this one. So this one has quite involved lyrics. Again, these were extra fields, these W fields, and this one. Let's close this down again. There you can see you can put lots of lines of lyrics down. I mean, this perhaps a bit unusual to do that. You often put the lyrics underneath the tune, except for the first verse. But you can see it's possible to put lots and lots of different lines of lyrics on the tune there. Okay, I think that was all I was going to cover today. So we've seen chords, symbols, chords in the music, chords and unisons, ties and slurs, grace notes, headers and comments, and just to finish off then, going further, as I mentioned in previous videos, if you want to find out more about this stuff, I'd go to the Learn page, and there's a whole bunch of examples and tutorials and the ABC standard there. I won't show you this time. If you want help with stuff, go to the Discuss page and you can find out about the mailing list and the ABC Facebook page where people, the ABC users Facebook page, where people will help you out, and also go to the videos page where I'm doing more of these. So a few more that will appear are one on songs, where we'll talk about chords and transposition and more about the lyrics. I'll do one on polyphony and multiple voices, and then I'll do one on easy ABC tips and tricks to get the most out of it. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for listening, and see you on the next one.